What's up, y'all? It's your girl Ashley back with another episode of Dear Cousin, and we are covering part 2 of Tyler and Ashley from Love is Blind. And this is going to be my last piece on it, y'all. So the last video I talked about the different types of donor situations and why that situation has kind of manifested itself to be what it was. If you don't have any background, go watch my other part of the video. There's plenty of coverage on this topic. This video, we're going to just talk about the different people's perspectives in the situation. And then we're going to start with Ashley. And my name's Ashley, so I just, I feel like she's not making us look very great in this situation, but I think she should just sit this one out. I think that it's clear that Bri and Tyler have a history and that they have conversations that they need to close out. There's clearly gaps in the situation. There's clearly closure that needs to be had between those two individuals as it comes to these kids, as it relates to these kids and this family. And I think she should just sit this one out. I think that as a person coming in from the outside and a person that is, wanting to build a life with Tyler and wanting to move forward with him, I think she should allow for the space to close out that situation properly, and she should put that on Tyler. I don't think that she should feel like she needs to carry the burden of being public and talking about this situation and making Tyler look like this heroic person when clearly there was some gaps in terms of how that situation unfolded. And I just think she should just sit it out. It's given very much, Kirk and Rashida. I'm gonna stick beside them. It's given Yandy and Mendices. The man is clearly out here doing stuff, making her look crazy, and she's just okay with it and trying to piece together whatever story to make herself comfortable. And honestly, I think she should just sit it out. That's just my honest to God truth. I think, again, for me, just thinking about it from, why the queer community gets such a bad rep and why some things are so confusing for people. And I feel like her saying things like, donor babies and donor baby mama and all this like crazy language is just wild to me. And I think she should just give a statement and sit it out. Tyler will discuss, Tyler will handle his situation, and I'm moving forward with my life instead of putting out these narratives and putting out these stories, and she was not there. I just feel like she should sit it out. I believe that Tyler owes a conversation to Bri or whoever on that side to make clear what the situation is. I think that it's obviously clear that there was some level of distance that he put in there somewhere, and in his mind that was enough, but clearly he was being a father to these children, and there's no world where you just disappearing from your kids' lives is acceptable. That's just never acceptable, especially when you opted to step up. And if we take what Bri has said and that y'all had these kids naturally, they're not donor kids. That's just what they're not donor kids. That's just like anybody who has a one night stand and then they get pregnant. What it was a one night stand baby, and now you're not the father is crazy. So I think that Tyler obviously has some responsibility that he's trying to run from, and that he will ultimately be responsible because he is the father of these kids. It's not a donor situation. If we listen to what Bri has said, it is truly that he is the father of, at minimum, the twins. And he, is the donor of the first child, and he stepped up to be the father. But even more than that, he at no point eliminated his parental rights, and so he is ultimately the father of that child too. And so that's how that situation is going to ultimately legally unfold, and that's just the reality of that. I think as far as Bri, I think she's doing the best that she can to put out what is her version of the truth. I think it's very hard for people to think that she should sit on the side and allow Tyler and Ashley to paint this picture of who this family is when it's not true. I think it's not fair, according to her story and the text messages and then the evidence and the proof that she's put out, the receipts that she's put out, that there was more to the story than just he donated some sperm and walked away and now he's no longer the father of these kids. I think that there's clearly some reconciliation that needs to be had, and I think she's navigating it the best way she knows how, is just to share her story. I can imagine that it's heartbreaking to hear a man who's been present and showed up for your children day after day after day, even when you guys had breakdowns, still presumably was acting as the father of your kids, to now just disappear from their lives. And like I said on the last video, I have straight relatives, like many of us do, who the father just walked out of the lives of the kids. And it's no different here, right? Just because you, you were a donor to the first kid, and then you stepped up, and then you had sex with her, had the second set of kids, and then you walked away from this family. I mean, it's abandonment at minimum, right? And so I think that Bry's just doing the best that she can to navigate a narrative that's been painted about her family. And anyone who knows Tyler knows her. And so they're going to be looking at her like, girl, what is the situation? And so she's doing her best to put her story out there. And, we hope that at the end of the day, for me, I just hope that they're able to reconcile for the children. I think we've seen time after time messy situations where people have, nasty breakups, nasty separations, and things don't go, things are not communicated properly. And clearly there's some miscommunication that Tyler has not shared. He's the missing piece. We've heard from Ashley, we've heard from Bri. We have not heard Tyler state anything. I mean, that little reunion thing he said, as far as I'm concerned, was a political statement at best, and not a full explanation. And he don't owe it to us as viewers. He owes it to Bri. He owes it to those kids. And so for me, I hope that at the end of this, that's the vindication that happens, is that the kids are ultimately provided for, and that Tyler, does his fair share. And if his decision is to step away and not be the father of those children anymore, I wish them all the best. And I hope that, Ashley can piece together how this might show up in her own future. I think patterns and behaviors repeat themselves. And I hope that, she's fully, reconciles fully what this situation is, that if a man who knows that he had sex with this woman and had these kids can walk away from them, what is possible for her, what he is possible to do to her. And I pray that that's not the situation, but I think that we are all aware that patterns and behavior continue to show up. And according to Bri, he has a history of walking away from situations and family when they get hard. And so for me, I just hope that there's some development and that there's some growth in him as a man to be able to move forward with a new family. And that's my thoughts on that. This is another episode of the Dear Cousin Show. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.